Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Midnight Siren. It's been a few months since I've done one of these videos. Not as long as my last hiatus on the series, but since I promised it to be a monthly thing, I've been slacking. I ended up breaking from it for the remainder of last year, with a promise to start back strong at the beginning of the new year. Last year I did end up totally writing a script for November, but the news was so boring that I never ended up finishing the video, and in return, didn't even bother trying for December. Now, if you're new to the series, then in this series I report on supernatural news stories from this specific month. It's important to know that I am inherently a skeptic, and will look at each story with the perspective of one, using what logic I can find to debunk them, though not every story has a simple answer. Some can actually be paranormal. January had some very interesting events. We have the usual ghosts and UFOs, but also a few tales of the strange and mysterious. Are you ready? Our first story of the day comes from Reddit. User MeTarzanEugene posted a link to an Imgur post. He explained that this photo was taken on the night of the large full moon by a family member of his. Perfectly normal, right? The next picture he took was reportedly taken 2 seconds later, showing what appears to be some small creature, a gnome or perhaps a leprechaun. The original poster doesn't claim as to what he believes the artifact to be, and is genuinely asking for opinions as to what could explain it. He claims that his family member has no idea how to use Photoshop, and when checking out the photo on Photo Forensic, that appears to be the truth. The creature has its own shadow, so it is not something on the camera lens, the original poster points out. So what does that leave? If it's not a smudge and not photoshopped, is there any other natural explanations? Going the hoax route, it's possible that the photographer put something out in the yard and then snapped the picture to look like the creature. But there is clear motion blur on it, while the rest of the photo is sharp. Some of the commenters on the Reddit post claim it could be a rolling shutter artifact, but there are arguments against that as well. For the first time in what feels like forever, this could possibly be a real creature of some kind. What a way to start the year. Let's set the scene. It's early morning, and you're running late for work. You're bustling about the house, tie disheveled with coffee in hand. You book to the door, tossing it open in a quick attempt to not be late, and quickly attempt to move out. You smack right into a brick wall. How would you feel? Well, that actually happened to a man in central Germany last month. He woke one morning to find that someone had built a brick wall over his front door. The police have yet to find the perpetrator, and whether it was for revenge or a prank, they do not know. It's almost frightening to know how quickly and quietly the wall had been built. Maybe Trump should recruit them. We have a few totally bonkers stories this month, and this is the first of them. North Dakota native Christopher Bauer has tracked what he believes to be Bigfoot. We couldn't escape him, right? For 7 miles, yes, 7 miles, Bauer followed large 18 by 8 foot footprints. The tracks led him through the snow until disappearing into the hills. He reportedly followed the creature after a family friend spotted what was described as a huge, hairy, ugly monster. Bauer snapped a few pictures of the prints and sent them to a Bigfoot expert, probably one of those guys from Mountain Monsters, from the University of Idaho, who said they were, quote, promising. I'm just really impressed with this guy's commitment that he followed tracks for 7 miles in the snow. To be honest, I hope it wasn't for nothing. A finding in Peru has brought forth what seems to be another strange artifact, a possible three-fingered alien hand. I say another because a few months back, a strange elongated skull was found in around the same area. Both objects were discovered by the same person. X-rays of the hand show slanted, thin bones segmented in 6 pieces. Skin and nails are preserved, and a metal chip is embedded within it. A possible implant? The hand is awaiting DNA testing, but it appears to be nothing currently identifiable. This is another story coming from Reddit, from the r/Mandela Effect subreddit. Yeah, the Mandela Effect again. You guys may or may not remember me talking about this in semi-detail back in August when I was covering another Mandela-related topic. If you don't, and you've never heard of it, simply it is based around a group of people who remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in 1991, rather than in 2013. There are a host of other examples of proof of this being a real phenomenon, such as the Berenstain versus Berenstein Bears debate that I covered back in the August news video. Theorists claim that collided alternate realities, time-traveling mishaps, a glitch in the Matrix, or government mental tampering may be responsible for people remembering things differently. Really though, if you want to know more about this, I suggest Googling it. There is really a lot on it. Though I do warn you, you might fall into quite the rabbit hole. Today though, we are going to be discussing Shazam. No, not the genie movie from the 90s starring Shaq, that's Kazam. Shazam is vaguely similar to the plot of Kazam, except, well, it doesn't exist. However, a whole host of people remember it in explicit detail. According to these people's memories, the movie featured comedian Sinbad as a starring genie who was summoned by 2 kids on accident and try to use their wishes to wish for their dad to find love after the loss of their mother. But that's against the rules.
That's fairies, you dolt! Genies don't abide by rules, they're just extremely tricky.
Right, anyway, one Redditor even remembers the cover art describing Sinbad being back-to-back with a kid from the movie, a purple background and Sinbad's name in giant, obvious letters. Yeah, kind of like that, except, you know, just paste Sinbad over Shaq. There we go. The rumors of this lost movie have gotten so intense that Sinbad himself has even posted tweets dispelling the rumors that he was ever in such a film. So why exactly do so many people actually remember it? Well, obviously the Mandela effect. Or, as with any other Mandela effect evidence, it could just be mass false memory spread coupled with the similarities that was the Shaq movie. However, unlike the other Mandela effect stories that deal with very slight detail changes, this is a movie that came seemingly out of nowhere. Of course there is Kazam, but is there really so much similarity that people would just mentally Photoshop in a different personality? It's possible, truly. This, to me, is at least more plausible than anything else Mandela theorists have put forth. It's also worth mentioning that some of the Redditors actually believe that the studio is just hiding the movie's existence, so maybe a little more explainable? I said we had a few insane stories this month, didn't I? Well, this is the second one, and the crazier one. UFO enthusiast John Mooner was looking at Google when he found evidence of what he believes to be an alien abducting him. He shows this image as proof, pointing out that the light anomalies are UFOs. He also shows a super zoomed in image of what he believes to be himself trying to punch an alien in the face. He says it looks like the alien is blocking his punch and that the UFO is coming to pick them up. Yeah. Mooner claims that he has had numerous instances of lost time that he attributes to possible alien abductions, and that this photo is proof that his theory is true. However, a skeptic has pointed out that what appears to be the UFO is actually just a glint from the sun reflecting off some glass. As for the alien that Mooner is punching, well, obviously that part is true. Next, we have a story very similar to the one that I've done before several months back. Last month in Yuyang, China, a phenomenon described as an alien city was sighted. Many people saw what looked to be a floating city high in the clouds above Yuyang. This is not the first time China has been subjected to seeing a phantom city, as I mentioned in my story a few months back. As with last time, this occurrence has brought forth many theories as to what exactly this strange occurrence is. As I mentioned previous, many people believe that this may be a glimpse into a parallel universe, visible during the opening of some sort of portal. In addition to this, other UFO enthusiasts claim that this may be an alien mothership using China's smog to help cloak its ship while it gets close to the city to observe the citizens. And also the Illuminati theorists say it's the government, for some reason. As with anything, though, there are always more reality-based explanations as well. A few say it was real buildings disguised by thick fog. Most likely, though, it's something called Fata Morgana, an optical illusion that occurs when the bend of light that reflects off objects becomes distorted due to passing through multi-temperature air changes. This seems likely due to China's mass smog pollution, which is supported by the fact that this is not the first time it has happened in the country. Facebook user Richard Christensen from Arizona uploaded this photo to Facebook asking what people thought it was. To many, it looks to be a demon. It's an understandable reaction. I mean, just look at it. It's really, honestly creepy. It just looking at a menacing inky figure with massive black wings standing in the distance. You can even see what looks like legs. I mean, it kind of looks like Mothman. Oh shit.
Did you say Mini Mothman?
No. Go away.
No.
Skeptics have asked the original uploader to take a picture of what that area looks like during the day, but from what I could find, he never did. They claim it is most likely an optical illusion caused by two palm trees side by side. Others say it may be photoshopped, to which I looked into in photo forensic. There was no evidence of Photoshop, which rules that out and leaves only it being a real paranormal picture or a very convenient optical illusion. I couldn't find the original post, unfortunately. Still, this doesn't look exactly like palm trees to me. However, the fact that he never took a daytime picture is a bit suspicious. Perhaps he knows what it really is and he just thought it looked like a demon and decided maybe he could fool everyone on the internet. I'm not going to say it's really paranormal. You all know I'm a skeptic, but just looking at this picture creeps me out. Okay, we have one more weird one that I added as a whim. Dmitry R., a Russian man, inherited a cat from his aunt that has begun to exhibit clairvoyant properties. I'm just going to read quotes from him that I got directly from my source about what the psychic cat named Charles Utkins, that's a weird name for a cat, has done to show his supernatural abilities. The doors to every room were closed, and the cat, shut away elsewhere, suddenly appears in the room behind closed doors, although nobody let him go. He reads minds, but the worst thing, he inspires thoughts, and these thoughts will be fulfilled. They are impossible to resist. He made me go shopping and buy what he needed. Before I met Atkins, I did not believe in supernatural things, but this creature managed to inspire me to thoughts and shame me to do what I do not want to do. Due to his abilities, Dimitri's life has become somewhat strained, even so much as putting friction in his marriage due to his wife's unease around the cat. He has sold the cat to a witch for a whopping 84,000 freaking dollars. The unnamed psychic was infatuated with the cat, and, I mean, who wouldn't be with that adorable little face? And is currently using him in her seances. Honestly, all cats are psychic. They can use Jedi or cat-eye mind tricks on you to make you pet and feed them. I mean, who could deny that adorable face? UFOs are a phenomenon that we investigate a lot on this show. Most of the time they're just a passing mention of a same old kind of story, but this one is not the same. Early last month, the Chilean government agency that investigates UFO, or as they call them UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, called CIFA, released declassified files on a case that they had been trying to solve for 2 years. Said case is reportedly one of the toughest and most interesting that they have investigated. In November of 2014, the Chilean Navy was testing a new FLIR, forward-looking infrared, camera whilst flying an Albrus Cougar AS-532 helicopter. The pilot of the aircraft was an experienced pilot, with many years in the Navy and a technician who was operating the camera. They were about 4,500 feet and flying 152 miles per hour when a strange image appeared on the camera's screen. It was traveling at around the same altitude, at the same speed, around 35 to 40 miles ahead of the chopper. Immediately, the pilot contacted 2 separate radar stations, and neither could find said object on radar. Air traffic control reported that no aerial vehicles, neither civilian nor military, were cleared to be in that area at that time. The pilot tried to radio the craft, but to no avail. The technician continued to film the object for 9 minutes before it vanished behind some clouds. During his filming, he observed the craft jettison a strange heated liquid that seemed to disperse in a mist-like manner, twice. CIFA took over from there. A team of experts worked on the case, systematically ruling out every possibility of a logical, known explanation. It couldn't have been a landing aircraft due to the fact that it would have been documented either by the landing strip or when they had to request to release the observed liquid, as well as it would have responded to the pilot's contacting. A weather balloon wouldn't have traveled horizontally. A drone would have been documented and picked up on radar. At the end of the 2-year investigation, the only answer they could come up with is that it was a UAP, or UFO, in some form of the word. Was it perhaps a super-cloaked alien vehicle, hiding from radar but unable to disguise its heat emissions? Or just something else that maybe CIFA looked over? The answer is scarily narrow, and it makes the extraterrestrial option a little more likely. And that's why it's my paranormal pick of the month. Maybe we should call in John Mooner to punch those aliens in the faces. Well, January was certainly a lot more interesting than November was. We had some really crazy stuff going on. Though some of it can be explained, can all of it? I'm really interested in what you guys think may be going on in this month's stories, and if you think they're supernatural or simply explainable. For now, though, I am Midnight Siren, and I will be seeing you guys next time.